Please be seated. Following the leader is a favorite children's game. I remember it fondly as a fun one. Often there were obstacles, maybe some risks and physical challenges, but usually fun. It did require whoever was playing to pay attention, listening and watching, to follow along. Following Jesus, beloved, has its own set of challenges. If you are new to the Christian life, these words from Luke's gospel this morning might surprise you. Yet no matter where we are on the journey of faith and practice, the words can still be challenging to hear. Our good news this morning is a not so gentle reminder of the cost of discipleship, the impact of following Jesus, homelessness, reconfigured families, changed social standing. So to say, at the very least, following Jesus is a challenge. Many of you may already know that we have a labyrinth in McGinnis Chapel, just kind of right out the doors to the left and up the little stairs. It's on the floor. The labyrinth is an ancient spiritual tool found in nearly every civilization. And I have found walking the labyrinth is one way to listen and follow. And then there is always something in this listening and following and walking that provokes me. The practice opens my ears and my heart to consider again who and what I'm following. At Spirituality and the Arts Camp this past week, we explored in art. We explored it in song and painting, sculpture, cooking, movement. We explored hospitality and loving our neighbor. Every day of camp, we met to worship on the labyrinth. Now, we didn't walk it in the traditional sense. We sang and danced on it. We saw the love of God in each other as we drew the circle wider. We practiced listening to God and to each other. And then together we followed Jesus as we extended the love God shows us in that single commandment, love your neighbor as yourself. Jesus' journey took him and those who followed toward Jerusalem. Now we know that story. We know what happened in Jerusalem. So Jesus went toward pain and death and ultimately transformation. Following Jesus took the disciples on a journey away from everything they knew toward on that same path. We too proclaim that we follow Jesus. And if we follow the same path, where will it lead us? Because once we follow, the very way of doing everything is forever altered. How many people want to sign up for that? Show of hands? Okay. Following Jesus leads to Jerusalem, toward challenge and change, toward transformation, toward loving our neighbors as ourselves. In this community, we struggle together to listen and to follow. We know well the need to protect and to love our neighbor. We know we must put aside our fears and worries and look toward the kingdom of God. And we also know the cost. Worries and fears are the part of life that so often stop us, so often paralyze us. when we are trying to do the next right thing. But when we can remember that we are graced with the knowledge and experience of an abundant God who knows our fears, who knows our worries, who knows our shortcomings, and still calls us to follow. And we could, beloved, count the cost of following as a loss. But we also must agree that the value of what is found in the love of God is so much greater. Sometimes this feels so elementary, so simple, and yet so complicated by the ways and means by which we can try to protect ourselves, to shield ourselves from risk and pain. So there is a choice, then, in this decision to follow. We can choose to be safe, or we can choose love. We can choose what is most familiar, or we can choose love. We can choose a sense of duty and obligation, or we can choose love. Our journey with Jesus is a journey in faith, and our part is to listen and to follow. Now, I've always been a bit suspicious of anyone who knew exactly what they wanted to be when they grew up. I know my suspicion is just dressed up jealousy, because I have never, ever been certain about a career path. Now, there were some things I realized would be more difficult to achieve as I got older. Dancing, playing the piano well, acting professionally. I had absolutely no assurance about what I wanted to be. Over the years, I have held, as many of you know, a variety of interesting and challenging and rewarding jobs all along the way to following Jesus. And even at 40, the call to be ordained took such a long time. It was a slow unfolding. There was no aha moment, no bolt of lightning, no falling from a horse, no sure sign, not even in seminary or at my ordinations. And sometimes now, I still wonder, how am I to follow? I totally believe in goals and dreams and working toward them. And it's not that there wasn't or isn't a plan, because without a plan, I wouldn't be standing here before you, obviously. And then I remember once I saw a sign at a Cracker Barrel restaurant, which is probably not someplace you want to take inspiration and counsel, but it said, "Getting there is half the fun," which challenged all my needs for control and predictability. And so I've come to embrace, especially in my spiritual life, that it is indeed all about the journey. This idea of following love on the way toward change and transformation suits me in a way, even as I struggle with it. It's a lifetime of listening, of discerning the path of love and then following. You, this community, is on a journey. We, as people of God, are always, I pray, on a journey. This journey has its roadblocks, its potholes, its redirection. We may be detoured along the way, but our face is also set toward Jerusalem, toward the place of transformation. There are risks, there are challenges, there will be changes, and there is always love. Over time, we have followed Jesus in different ways. And regularly, we still need to recommit to that way of listening and following. We need to check. Are we still on the road following Jesus? Or have we stopped to take care of our desires to be right? Our desires, our needs, and our fears will always bump up against God's desire for us. They will always challenge us. On the journey, beloved, can we, with God's help, recommit to follow Jesus? Can we rededicate our lives even as we face the uncertainty of the way there? This week, I ask if you might stop to listen and consider where you are on this journey of following. You might want to come to this place and walk the labyrinth. You might just want to spend time in the beauty of the world. You might just want to sit for a few moments in your favorite chair in the quiet of a new day. You might want to come on Wednesday morning at 9:30 to St. Joseph's when we gather to sit in silence and pray. Wherever you are, I ask to find time to hear Jesus say, "Follow me." Together we are called to set our faces to be determined to follow Jesus toward Jerusalem. This way of following is fierce and challenging because as followers of Christ, we are called to offer prophetic witness in the name of love to the world. Yes, there is a cost. It will cost us everything. And even so, we do it together. Love will not ask us to change. And yet, when we follow love, we will be changed. And to another, Jesus said, "Follow me."